My son, attend to my words, incline your ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from your eyes, keep them in the midst of your heart. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Put away from you a forward mouth, and perverse lips put far from you. Let your eyes look right on. Let your eyelids look straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, and let all your ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove your foot from evil. Wisdom is basically taking the instruction from God. And wisdom is personified as a woman. I'm now going to look at a woman and her role in war. If you do know anything about Wonder Woman in the trailer that is to come, as you can see in front of you right here, is actually going to be confronting the enemy in battle. Here's the second snippet of Wonder Woman in the heat of battle, in the midst of it. And she's withstanding the artillery force of the enemy. Now, in this concept art that came out in Entertainment Weekly, we can see that Wonder Woman here is moving away from the Allied forces, which you can see with their guns, and she is walking into the heat of battle. She's walking into the midst of battle. This is an awesome conceptual art picture, and we see it in action both in the movie trailers and also the incredible feats that she accomplishes by doing so. Now, what's very interesting is that this period of time, which is World War I, has some parallels in that when we look at World War I, this picture, for instance, depicts Italy as personified by a woman stepping into the heat of battle, just as Wonder Woman did. If you look here, you see her approaching the enemy. Now, this is more metaphorical than anything else, even though everything's pretty much written in Italian. It's basically representing the Italian forces making their mount towards the enemy. And this is in the time of World War I, to be very precise. But what's very interesting about this is this parallel that we see here is a very similar parallel to Wonder Woman stepping into battle, going against the enemy forces, which are somewhere around here, from the Allied forces as she advances towards the enemy. Now, there actually was an embodiment of Wonder Woman in World War I. In World War II, this embodiment was replaced with two other embodiments, which are actually known as Uncle Sam and another as Lady Liberty. But what's very interesting about World War I, particularly, and the parallels between that and Wonder Woman's advance that you just saw there, was that there was a personification of valor and bravery in the form of Lady Columbia. Lady Columbia, which you can see here, has a star upon her head, very much akin to what Wonder Woman has on top of her head. If you look at Wonder Woman's head, she also has a star on her head. Unfortunately, you can't see it in these particular photos, but it's very much akin to Lady Columbia. Now, Lady Columbia is not Lady Liberty, but she did symbolize liberty, freedom, and bravery. In fact, she was used as a recruitment tool, and if you look here, you see some of the accoutrements, as we would say, that Lady Liberty had. And this was done in 1891, which is around the time of the beginning of World War I, which was more along the 1915s, etc. But still, it was heating up to that. Notice the star upon her head, the stripes, the stars and stripes symbolizing the United States of America. So there was a relation between Lady Columbia and the United States of America. Here we see Lady Columbia again carrying the flag, and she's pulled a sword. This again was in World War I's time. I think this was in 1915. This was done. And she was actually used as a recruiting tool in the World War I period of time. As you can see here, Lady Columbia calls, enlist now for the U.S. Army. Now, for a while, the U.S. Army was pretty much impartial to the World War I, what was happening in World War I. And it says here, awake, ye men, from dreams of peace, not sleep when danger is near, but fling old glory to the breeze. There's no cowards here. So she was basically beckoning the U.S. forces to valor and honor by going into war. Again, see the sword in her hand, a drawn sword, symbolizing that they were about to step into battle. Now, why that's important is because we can see here at the end of the World War, she's also the one that seems to be bestowing honor unto the soldiers who went into battle. You can see this is a World War I soldier because of the bayonet at the end of the gun. Here she has the scroll in one hand, and she has the sword in the other, and the flag and stars and stripes are behind. And if you look at Wonder Woman's color coding, she basically is the red, blue, and white. Okay, that's what Wonder Woman's coding is, and you can see that right here. She's red, she's blue, she's golden. Okay, all right. So Wonder Woman sort of symbolizes the stars and stripes, sort of like how Superman does as well. Her bracelets are more silver than white, but still. So Lady Columbia has a lot in common with Wonder Woman. Now, Lady Columbia would later be given way to Lady Liberty, which is this lady here. This is in World War II. She'd give way to Lady Liberty, who wasn't quite like Wonder Woman. Lady Liberty was more of a recruitment tool. Of course, Lady Liberty is still off of New York there. You see the Statue of Liberty, that's Lady Liberty. It's a little bit different. Lady Liberty didn't really carry weapons and that sort of thing, didn't have a sword in her hand or a shield. Even though in this case she does have, she kind of replaces Lady Columbia with that. She has the scroll and the sword here. But for the most part, didn't really do that. But notice that again, the phoenix right here, that's on the crest of Wonder Woman. And so there is parallels between Wonder Woman and Lady Liberty, which is why Wonder Woman was also held in the time of World War II. Of course, Uncle Sam was another guy who also replaced Lady Columbia. So that Lady Columbia was not known during World War II at all. In fact, her presence wasn't felt in World War II, but that's because Lady Columbia was now part of Columbia Records as well as Columbia Production. So what's interesting is that Lady Columbia, we see Lady Columbia beckoning people to go into battle, okay? And she does sort of represent what Wonder Woman does represent. And this was why the period World War I is actually has some relevance to Wonder Woman. And actually, Wonder Woman stepping into battle, as we see here, is not quite as strange to what was actually being personified in World War I, where we see a lady figure with a sword drawn and the flag carrying, very much akin to Lady Columbia or Lady Liberty, being carried out here. So we see that superheroes are actually personifications of actual spirits, or we see the spirit of liberty, the spirit of Columbia, liberty, justice, and honor. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was very interesting. This is Lady Columbia even before World War I is in full swing. Here she is again, sword drawn. She also has in her hand a scroll. She has a scroll and she has a sword, right? Now, of course, the sword and the scroll become less relevant as you move through time. So World War II was a little bit different. even though we had Lady Liberty there. But the sword was a big deal in World War One because the bayonets were swords, and sword fighting was still in effect in World War One. It was kind of a transition between horses and carriages and actual automated vehicles, as well as swords versus guns. So it was a sort of transition period. So it's a very interesting piece where they decided to revise Wonder Woman to be in a period where between, the old school way of doing things, which had to do with bow and arrows and swords and shields. Wonder Woman herself uses a sword and a shield. And now mortar fire and tanks and cars and guns. So World War I was a very interesting period in that respect. And, Patty Jenkins has the ideal opportunity to show so many different things going on here. You can see the kinds of equipment that they had, the bayonet at the end of the gun, the rapid fire gun, the automatic weapons. All of these things, the variations of these things were starting to happen in World War One. So it's a very interesting time, and I just thought I would share this with you guys. On that note, you guys have a great one.